The $1 million question for business owners: how do I work out my pricing? If we had $1 for every time we heard this, Phil, we'd probably have $1 million.
We probably would. And is there an answer to it?
No.
I don't think there is. No.
It seems to be something that pops up all the time.
Yeah.
Almost like a little bit of one of those silverish bullets where it's like, what's the perfect pricing?
And a lot of people, I think, would look to the market and go, well, my competitors, what are they doing? Oh, well, they're charging $9.99 for this particular product, or I can't charge over $10 for mine, otherwise I'll lose sales. And I just think that's an absolutely fundamentally flawed strategy, because if you've got enough distinction in your product and you are very good at telling your story and you can articulate your value, you don't know what the value is that you're providing to somebody else whose problem you're solving. Only they can put a value on your solution. And in business, I think so many business owners are still scared. And we've talked about it on recent pods of hearing no. And like, you've got to make offer after offer after offer. And if you're getting too many yeses, then your pricing's not right. I think you're leaving money on the table. And you've got an example that you'll probably share of a recent client who sat down and was in front of a prospective client. Well, how much would you be prepared to pay? And then when they said the number was, man, they almost fell off their seat.
Yeah, and even for us, we still get no's. We were talking about the winning formula of somebody recently, which is $23,000 plus GST over 12 months.
Yep.
And someone was like, I wasn't expecting to pay that much. I'm like, all right, well, you're probably not expecting to get the same results as what you would if you worked with us.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But we have data to know that people will pay that. So we save those sessions for the people who will invest in their business, who will say yes, and who will get the most out of it.
Yeah, and then the other part of it's about knowing the value. Put out a proposal to a client for just stock standard compliance accounting. Let's say it's $7,000. Oh, okay, we'll go away and think about it. They carry on with their current accountant. 6 months later, they're like, we've still got problems. It's not working well. Can we come and work with you guys now? And it's like, yeah, boom. Because there's value in the price that you pay, even though it's probably double what you're paying now. To come over and work with us, you're going to start and have conversations and discussions with us that are going to actually have an impact in your business. Boom, it's unlocked the value and it's solving the problem that they face within their business.
Yeah, I think a lot of us never get taught that the market actually decides the value.
Bingo.
And that's really hard to break out of when you don't go and understand that in a deeper layer. So the example that I often give, because you will hear in New Zealand, we're a low-wage economy. Employers stand on people, they rip them off, they get rich off the back of other people and paying them bugger all. So the unfortunate thing with even a narrative like that or a internal programming is that's what you're going to believe. Well, then how can you go and be valuable? Because you already believe, like that's what you believe, that you're not valuable and that you're a minimum wage worker or $35 an hour or whatever. So that's your ceiling that you start to create for yourself. You created it for yourself. That's step one, very confronting. But the beautiful way to think about this is whatever your hourly wage is that you think, okay, people take advantage of you and that's all they're going to pay you, then how can you make 3 times that by going and mowing somebody's lawns in 45 minutes? So if you're on $35 an hour, but then someone next door will pay you $85 to mow their lawns in 45 minutes, then the market values you at $85 for that 45 because it's valuing the solution that it can provide, that you can provide. Now, if the neighbor next door sees you doing that and they say, hey, we need our lawns done, you go, oh, okay, cool, $85. Oh, is that all? Whoa, what do you mean is that all? Oh, mate, like we need them done now because we're flying to Australia in the morning and we need them done before our parents get here and we don't want them turning up here seeing how much of a shithole this place looks like. Can you do them now?
Yeah.
I'll pay $200. Ah, okay. So this person values you at $85. You thought you're a $35 an hour person. Wrong. $85? Shit, in 45 minutes. Well, just blew your paradigm. Next door, oh, $200. Urgency, demand, they value it even more. Here's $200. So I think it's a good way to sort of see how value is actually what people end up paying for and to get rid of this kind of per hour. That's all I've ever been paid. I can't charge any more than that. It's not up to you to decide. It's up to the buyer to decide the value that they see. But it's your responsibility to articulate that to people.
And it may come back to people's scarcity lens that they go on with how they make their own purchasing decisions, their own mind of just going, I'm going to shop at Briscoe's, but I'm not ever going to go there until they've got a sale on. Or gee, so-and-so's got a sale. Kids, they went off to the pajama shop recently and they were having a sale, but then they were having a sale on a sale. And they thought that they were got the deal of the century of picking up these pants that were retailing for $130 and picked them up for $50. And it's like, and they're still making money on them. And they could not fathom the fact that they would be prepared to pay $130 or $50 for some pajama stuff, because that's what kids wear or want.
Yeah.
And they think they're getting a deal at $50, but this company wouldn't be doing it if they still weren't making money. And it's that psychology thing there of people going, oh, I'm going to buy it, but I'm only going to buy it what's on sale. And I think in business, if that's framing your decision of just going, oh, I'd do this, but I'm only going to charge $50 for it because that's all I would be prepared to pay, that's the danger zone, because you're not putting enough value on yourself of how the predicament that the other person is in of how much they value it, like what you say of going, I need my lawns mowed, I need them done today or tomorrow or within a particular period of time, and that's worth more than an hourly rate calculation, because value isn't tied to hours in a day or an hourly rate. It's just problem, solution, value, how much are you prepared to pay? You could go, okay, to do it and it's a 45-minute job, it's $85. Gee, I'll try and charge them $150. And they go, yep, done. Next time it comes along and happens, well, we'll try $200. Oh, no, we'll leave it. Or there you know, you've reached the ceiling. It's somewhere between 150 and 200 for that particular type of person. Let's play around with that for a little while and just see where the yeses and nos land.
Yeah.
Boom, you're starting to extract value rather than valuing yourself based on time of how much you think you're worth.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where we really underestimate the psychological piece that you say, and it's very hard to then give people like, oh, here's what you need to do. But the answer is basically you need to value yourself more and back yourself and articulate the value. And therefore, when you go to say a figure, you can say a higher figure. That's as simple as it basically is. But all of that work to do that, that's the hard bit. Why do you think like that? Why do you not think that you're valuable? Where does your money belief system come from? All these sorts of things.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, the journey that people probably, again, it's silver bullet, like what's the perfect pricing? Well, you know, somebody could be charging twice as much as you and doing less than you, but you don't believe that it's possible. So a lot of it comes back to belief. But this client said to us, in terms of some revelations that they had with working with us, my mindset around money was holding me back. I realized I was operating from a place of scarcity, wanting to be accessible for everyone, again, like trying to please everybody, right? And maybe like a beautiful thing to do, but sometimes it can hold us back, and not opening myself up to earning decent money. I felt very relieved after our meeting because I hadn't even considered pricing as an option to solve a lot of my issues. So for some context, they're trying to please everybody, price it for like a way cheaper than what it should be priced at. That's their meaning that they're running around trying to solve all these problems and keep everybody happy and basically burning themselves out. And we often see this with creative businesses. Once I started putting a higher value on my time and creative energy, key point there, not just like once I started charging more, once I started putting a higher value on my time and creative energy, I felt less overwhelmed, more respected and more energized by my core offer. So if somebody says yes all of a sudden to the same offer, but you double the price, how's that going to make you feel? And I think everybody's got to sit with that and think and actually think about that. I feel super confident in my new pricing offer and way forward for my business in that regard. So again, like they can see a lot of it as mindset and putting value on themselves and the belief that they have, and then what it does for them by the market saying, yes, I do see you as that valuable. I will transact with you at that price. It can unlock so many chapters for business owners.
The fascinating thing that I picked up from that, what you were reading, was this desire or need of the business owner to please everyone. And in business, I think there's this maybe unwritten word or rule that you've got to do business with everyone and you've got to please everyone. And if somebody comes along and they're a potential customer, that you must do business with them. And I think in business, well, I know for a fact, in business, not everyone is your customer. You don't have to do business with who you don't want to do business with. And it's got to come from a place of understanding abundance rather than scarcity. There genuinely is enough work out there if you're prepared to put the work into it. And then having this massive realization that you're not the solution to everyone's problem. There is enough room in the market. So talking about the lawn mowing thing, yeah, there's going to be room in the market for somebody that's going to want it done in a particular way at a particular price point because they're who they are. And there's going to be room in the market for someone else that's probably at the lower end. It's like with the supermarkets. I mean, we've got a Pack and Save, a Woolworths, a Farrow Fresh, the bloomin' Market Gardeners, all these different players in the market. They're not competing with each other. They're competing with the dollar from the people within that market that are prepared to go and spend with them based on what their sensitivities are. Quality, value, price, whatever it is. And I think as business owners, we've got to be really comfortable with what it is as part of our package and the value thing that we're offering to then go confidently, no, I don't need to do business with you. No, I'm prepared to get a no. Boom, here's the next yes.
Yeah.
And then the person that you're doing the yes with is going to value it. It's going to be easy. They're going to pay on time. You're not going to have this, because if you're doing business with everyone, then we're starting to create problems. We're getting invoices. Then you're going to have the 80-20 rule. All these people that aren't ideal customers, they ain't going to pay on time. Then it's taking time away from actually doing business because we're on the phone chasing money that we shouldn't have done business with people in the first place.
I actually think this is one of the fundamental issues that New Zealand has that we don't talk enough about, that people kind of can't see that this is actually what's happened. But because we have failed to teach people about value and about pricing and what the market will pay, we're so scared to do it. And so what's happened is, as the people have gotten older and built up more money, it just gets parked in bank accounts and term deposits and savings and whatnot. And because we're not good at figuring out how to sell to people, that money doesn't then flow back into the economy. It just gets parked and it's like, oh, I'm going to wait. But what you notice with people who do have money is that they will pay a travel agent when, oh, you could sort that yourself, you could organise it all yourself, why are you paying them for? They will go overseas and they'll come back with handbags, a fancy shit. They'll spend money over there because those markets are like, you go to America and they're like, bang, bang, we're going to take every dollar off you that we can. But here we're like, oh, I'm not sure about that, don't want to be pushy and whatnot. And we've got all this money that's basically accumulated with the older generations. And I don't think, apart from the retirement villages that are rolling out, we're very good at going like, hey, they've got a lot of money. Let's sell to them. Let's provide solutions to them. And then we fail to teach younger generations coming through that that's okay. Like, people won't transact if they don't find it valuable. That's completely fine. You know, Farrow Fresh, like you say, they don't go like, oh shit, not every New Zealander's coming here, we should shut the business down. They're like,
spot on.
Yeah. We know that these people will have that, therefore we'll shake their pockets for it.
I mean, and thinking about wine, and across the road from Farrow Fresh is the Fine Wine Delivery Company, and I only know this because it's on a prominent intersection in the North Shore. I do not shop there. Is you can go and buy wine from Pack and Save, you could go and buy it from New World, or you could go to a boutique little fine wine place, or you could be a high roller and be down in Wanaka or Queenstown and just knocking on the cellar door. Oi, lads, give us a box of that good stuff straight from the vines. Happy days. But there's different places in the market. Where does it all come from? I think I'm going to go out on a limb here, and we could be opening ourselves here to a bit of bashing, but I think it starts in the education system at schools. And I don't believe the school system is properly equipped to help educate young people on how to genuinely value themselves. And I think it starts with how we measure success in this country. And I think it's measured based on a national, at the moment, I don't know, teachers chime in and complain on the keyboard warrior comments, if you will. But these national standards, I don't know if that's still a thing, but it's just like, you've achieved, like, yes, you're average, great. You move to the next stage in life because you've achieved being average. And I think we're not going to extract maximum value if all we ever have to do is just be average. And I think in schools is the great place where young minds are developing to go, right, okay, in order to succeed and extract the most out of we can in the commercial world, because that's the reality of the world. That's where money flows, where it's going to be treated best. How do we extract that value? How do we strive to do better than just average? To be better than average, we've got to understand value. How do we value ourselves more and put ourselves out there in the world so that the money comes to us?
Well, I've got a good example of this, mate, from recently, and I think it sums us up well. And I did read a book whilst I was away, and it is about how a lot of people can't see value, but also can't see that delayed gratification will have a return. So then they don't believe in it, so they don't do it. So the thing that fascinates me is how petrol stations, like they play to the psychology. Oh, we've got 10 cents off a litre, 12 cents, 20 cents, but only till midnight. And they've got lines of people. You start working that out per tank of gas and you go, shit, they saved $4.80, but they sat for an hour.
Oh.
But because they can't see that their hour could be more valuable, like that's a win to them. And it's really hard to articulate that. It's really hard for me to understand that now. But years ago, I think I probably would have I probably grew up in that sort of mindset.
Yes. Yep.
Where it would be like, that would make a lot of sense. But eventually I had to teach myself, oh shit, what else could you do with that hour? And now I'm at the point of like, where can I constantly buy my time back? So I've gone so far the other way. But my beautiful partner brought me some shoes for my birthday.
Cute.
Now, unfortunately, they didn't fit. And she's like, I'll put those on Marketplace so that somebody else can benefit from them, because otherwise, knowing you, they're going to sit in your closet and you're just going to give them to someone randomly one day when you go like, hey, bro, you got size 9 shoes, man? Here you go. And I was like, that's exactly what will happen. Anyway, so I stay away from like listing it and whatnot. She's like, these will definitely sell. Now, before doing this, in between doing this, we go down to Te Manawa or whatever the new mall.
Oh, by the Auckland airport.
Yeah, and I see that these shoes that we've paid probably, I don't know what Taz paid for them, probably 100 and something.
So they're not your first pair of RMs that she got in the wrong size?
No.
Ah, okay.
So the shoes there are $70. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm like, well, I've been paying 180 for these Tommy shoes, you know. But
180
really,
for those kicks?
that's what they charge you.
Yeah, well, and then they're at special down at the thing.
So if you go to the outlet store or the mall or whatever, there's just screeds of them, $70.
Wow.
But apparently the quality's not as good.
Bullshit.
So anyway, I'm like, shit, these shoes are only $70. Taz chucks them on Marketplace for $50. She's like, they'll sell. And what do you know, like bang, like 20 people, wanting to come and get them.
No way.
Like, okay. So anyway, I'm like, I'll stay out of that transaction because it's not a good use of my time. And she's like, oh, I've got to go to, what a chick's doing these days, run club. I've got to go to run club after my book club, after sex toy club, after Tupperware club. Can you please meet the person at 10 o'clock?
Hard no.
I'm like, I'll be a GC. It was on a weekend, Saturday, I think, 10 to 10. Hey, bro, do you mind if I get them at 10:30?
Oh, I knew that's where it was
I'm
going.
like, I want to be in the gym. I want to be doing something. And straight away, my mind is like, this is why you're buying off Marketplace.
Yeah.
Which I'm not even going to unpack what I mean by that, right?
Yep.
But get this. I'm like, well, it's 10:30 or not at all. Because I timed my clock for 10 and I've got places to be. If it's 10:35, I can't be there.
Yep.
Sorry, bro. Didn't realize there'd be traffic. I'm coming from Takanini. I'm like, you're coming from Takanini to
Takapuna.
to get $50 shoes. Again, this is why you're on Marketplace.
It's close to an hour's drive.
Exactly where my brain goes to. Plus, you got to go back. Didn't factor in traffic.
Could have gone to fucking Manawa Bay and got a brand new pair for $70.
Bingo. So I'm like, I'm going to tell them that when they get here. Hey, have you seen the But again,
But they turned up at 10:45, not 10:30.
about 10:28 to their credit. You
Okay.
know? But I'm waiting downstairs and I'm just like, man, there are so many people like this in New Zealand. And they feel like they've got a deal, epic. And the person, to their credit, did say like, oh, these are for my mate, I'm just picking them up for them. But I'm like, how at 10 to 10, when you've said you're going to be somewhere at 10, are you like, oh, how far away is this place?
Disorganised, yeah.
Yeah, disorganized. And I'm just like, oh man, what could you be doing with this time to be getting? I feel bad. I'm like, I just want to give them the shoes for free.
Wow.
But I'm like, well, no.
No, that doesn't teach them a lesson.
Yeah, but I think that sums up like how so many Kiwi people live their life. And that might sound almost like a little bit harsh, but it should be for aspirational people like, what the fuck are people thinking?
Yeah.
But that is, like, they will be like, boom, got these shoes for $50. They're effectively
Deal of the
brand new.
century.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
But I
their
wasn't
mind,
doing anything else on my Saturday.
Yeah.
Could have actually been going out hustling on the lawns, making another 100, 200, $300.
Yeah, and if they understood their value more, they would go, that's not worth it for me. I could put this time into this. But because they don't understand their value, they can't, because they can't see that. So they actually think that they've won. And it's just like the people who will line up for the petrol. In their mind, they have won. They have found a better use for their time. And in business, that is not what it's like. You're in an abundant space, you're in a competitive space, you're trading your value for people's money. And the market, i.e. the people, will tell you like, no, I do not value that. That is not worth it to me. To me, not to all of us. If you keep getting no's, then maybe we've got to look at something.
Yeah.
But we get one no, and then we take it as like,
That's
everyone.
That's it. Nah.
Yeah.
No, I think you've got to go and get a stack load more no's before you know, actually, these are no's. I've got to go back to the drawing board and actually let's reframe this until I get a yes.
Yeah. And I think I use this example all the time, but the one that we should all resonate with and get this is to go, when you get on that plane to go internationally with Air New Zealand, there are people paying $10,000, there are people paying $300, there are people paying for a sky couch, there are people paying for the meal, there are people paying for an extra bag, and they have found a way to monetize every piece of value to the individual. They don't just go, there's 350 seats on this plane, you all pay the same amount because it gets you from A to B. They're like, man, we know that there is a whole range of people that are coming on this flight and they value things differently.
Yep.
So we're going to find offers to shake money out of their pocket.
Yep.
And the thing that we don't understand too is that often the back 2/3, I believe, of a plane is funded by the top third. So because they charge so much up front, then they can subsidise the cost of the back 2/3.
Yeah.
So if you don't have those people up there, just like our tax system, the back 2/3 end up having to pay more.
Controversial chat there.
Yeah.
But how we could potentially solve it is, and I wish we saw, I'm actually beginning to see more of it actually, when I turn my mind to it. But the example I will share does involve lawns. But as kids on the local Facebook groups, I'm increasingly seeing more, and it's fascinating in a constrained economy where jobs are few and far between, starting to see more younger people going out onto the local Facebook pages saying, hey, look, I've got babysitting services. I can mow lawns. Have you got any odd jobs? Do you need anything done around your house, your section, your garden, da-da-da-da-da-da? And the one example that I've got is where I live, there is a Facebook group for our little neighbourhood. It's not a gated community
Yet.
close. The gate will probably come at some point. But one of the neighbours' kids dropped on there. Hey, look, if you ever want your lawns mowed, da 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 da, and he's providing a wet hire service in that he provides the machinery and the fuel and the labour, and he gets on his zero turn right on. And zzz. Anyway, one of the vacant sections that is owned by somebody that's yet to build on it, overseas based, and they only turn up periodically. Well, we're overseas, we still need our lawns mowed. Would you come and do it? And this kid's out there, rain, hail or shine, every couple of weeks. Zzz. And I watch it while I'm freaking on my little John Deere doing my thing. He's out there doing his, making some money. I'm like, yeah. But get this, it gets talked about, and then the section next door to that, same problem. Overseas owners. Oh, it needs to be mowed. Oh, do you reckon you could do it once you've done this one? Finishes that one, over he goes, tops it up with some gas. Zzz. And this kid's banking money. I'm like, how good?
Yeah, nice. And he's found the person that values it, the overseas person.
Spot on.
So if they just went and knocked on a door and said, oh, hey, do you want me to mow your lawns? Like, no, because I could do it myself. And I've got nothing to do. So no, why would I pay you? Like, oh my God, I should never have done this. Or they approach it a different way and get a yes. And it's like, oh, and then someone else is like, oh, I'm the same profile and niche. If we take it back to businesses, bang, like who's got my money? Those people do. And
that's where I think it's how you position it, and the example that you could potentially use in your neighbourhood, and depending on where you live will depend on scenarios, but potentially for the neighbourhood that I live in, you could position it as being a young fellow going, hey, look, are you about to go to Queenstown for your winter skiing holiday? Because it's going to be coming up. That's where all you bastards go. While you're away, do you want your lawns taken care of?
Done.
Problem, like people go, oh, yeah, actually, I'm going to be down in Queenstown at the holiday home driving the Ranger. I'm going to need to put the snow chains on the car. I need to get old Ben down there to make sure that the car's turning over and the skis are all dried off. But while I'm away, there's still the home. Yeah, the lawns need to be done. Oh, and by the way, can you sort out the bins, this, that? Oh, and there might be some other odd jobs. Boom. Multiply that by a few owners that are going to be down the line. You got yourself a little business. Anyway.
I don't live in the gated communities that you do, mate, but I do live in the penthouse mansion type areas, and I did hear a fascinating story. So, and it's just another example. There's levels to this shit, and there is so much money out there. So I believe, so there's a bit of drilling going on at the moment. It's fucking annoying. I'll give you the tip in an apartment building. It's a good reminder, like you don't really own your sanity because someone can build above you or below and be like,
who's drilling what in the penthouse?
Great question. So I need to get to the bottom of this. So I have to start asking you some questions. So I finally find the answer, mate.
Yeah.
So turns out someone's come along and they've not brought one apartment, they've brought two.
Two.
Because you don't need one, you need two.
Two.
So we better knock that wall out.
Right.
Now a tradie's got a job. Yeah. So they value both of those apartments, but not as two. We value them as one. So then we need to transact with a tradie. We need you to take that wall out.
Wow.
Probably funds an architect as well. Can it actually withstand the load and stuff?
Yeah, engineers, happy days.
But get this, that's not what the drilling is. I'm like, well, what is the drilling?
What's Barbara up to?
Barbara doesn't like the black marble.
Does she not?
No, it's only just been put in too by the last owners.
Wow, Barbara.
So we've got to take the black marble out and it has to be replaced with white before we can move in.
Wow, a lick of paint obviously doesn't do the trick.
No, not with the marble, mate. So it's going to be drilled out apparently somehow.
Wow.
And we've got to start again because I value white, not black.
Interesting.
So again, more tradies.
Wow.
Jobs for Africa. Now, if they're all sitting around like pussies saying there's no work, they've forgotten the age-old question, who's got my money? Well, those people do. And they want problems solved.
Barbara, just for context, underneath you getting drilled or is she above you getting drilled?
At this stage, underneath you.
Yeah, okay. Wow. And she's going from 2 to 1?
No, 1 to 2. Well, she's turning 2 into 1.
Yeah. Smacking out the wall and then sorting out the marble and stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Barbara's a boomer, clearly.
Well, I haven't got to meet Barbara yet. But stand by. But it just shows you, like, when we believe shit like, oh, there's no money out there and people wouldn't pay for that, people pay for the most ridiculous shit.
Oh, they do.
That you will, like, you can't even dream of. And that's where you want to send your mind to. How can I solve their problem? What are they willing to pay for? The person who told me the story is like, they're obviously fucking loaded. I'm like, probably.
Well, but we shouldn't hate on that.
No.
I mean, that's to be celebrated. I mean, my mind immediately went to the people are prepared to pay for crazy shit. A restaurant with a wine list.
Yep.
Classic example. And I mean, we're guilty of sin here.
Oh, baby.
And my mind has immediately gone to a particular bottle of red wine that I know they put on a markup of almost 3 times what you can buy it for at a wine shop.
Yes.
And it's just like, who are the dumb fucks that are prepared to pay that?
You and I.
Times 2.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, these people have obviously gone, right, well, I want one apartment, we want 2, we want to join them together. And Taz actually said to me, well, maybe they're moving their family in, makes a lot more sense. I'm like, oh yeah, true, you know. And then, but like, we don't value this black marble, we want white
I'd keep
marble.
the wall up, if it was family. But anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But like, they decide what they value. And so, you know, the good thing to think about too is if they're willing to spend millions on these 2 apartments, they're probably then going to go, well, what's $100,000 to get these renos done, or 200? It's only 10%. So like, okay, that seems reasonable. And people use that price psychology all the time on us.
I'm nervous for the towering tower of Takapuna.
Yes.
With all this drilling that's going on and the other alterations to the whares within that building, is it at risk of...
Mate, I do sometimes think about that, but if I've got to go one way, then in the Leaning Tower of Takapuna, I'll be willing to go.
Yeah.
Don't get that on record, but hopefully it doesn't happen. Anyway,
but it's a fascinating piece. You know, that hopefully when people have listened to this or watched it, because, you know, it's worth watching, it helps break down the psychology. And I think that's the piece that people need to understand is there is psychology behind how we price. And I think fundamentally where business owners start, if we come back to a bit more business chat, would be, and I wrote this down in my little pre-show notes, is, I put on a 50% markup on all my stuff. That's how I price my stuff.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, I've got all my costs, and this is what I think my costs are, and I just put 50% on that. Oh, well, who told you 50% was right? And when you say that to a business owner, they just go, oh.
What do you mean?
Yeah. And then it's just, oh, no, I price all my stuff to make sure I get a 30% gross profit. Why 30% gross profit? Oh, because 30%, isn't that what everybody does? Nah. And then you start fucking with people's minds when you start questioning how they've come up with the methodology to price. And it's not to be like a shit person.
Belittling them. No.
Belittling, no. It's to try and just challenge their thinking to go, well, actually, just because that's what you think the market does or what you think everybody in business does actually doesn't mean that it's right, because the fact of the matter is it isn't. 30% gross profit is not what every business does. If you've got an opportunity to do 40, 50 or 60% gross profit, smash it out of the park. How do we achieve that? By playing around with pricing. Same with your input costs. What are our input costs? Oh, well, we'll just mark it up by 50%. Why 50%? I mean, there's the bottle of wine. It goes from a wine shop at a certain price and then ends up on a wine list at a restaurant at 3 times the price. Who's decided that markup? Yeah. Somebody has, and there's mugs that are prepared to pay for it.
The other one with business owners, when they talk about margins and they tell you confidently how they're pricing, you're like, oh, is that excluding GST or inclusive? What do you mean? Like, let's step through this then, eh? Let's have it. And then they realize, oh shit, I hadn't really factored in that my selling price includes GST. Therefore, if I divide that by 1.15 and find out my exclusive figure, oh, my margin's actually not as high as what I thought it was. And then you realize the whole calculation's broken. Like, well, that was your methodology.
And then we go a next step. Oh, no, we're doing 30% gross profit. Yep, no, that's how we price all the stuff. No, we're over it. Oh, okay, well, we're looking at our P&L and we're looking at that monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly, and then the last 5 years, and not once have you ever hit 30% gross profit. When was the last time you actually compared what you thought you were doing to what you were actually doing? Oh, you can do that. It's a level of accountability and actually understanding your numbers to go, shit, we're genuinely making money here at what we think we should be doing. And I think that's where business owners break down, is going, we think that this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But we're not actually going the next step further and going, what are we actually doing? And going, how does that compare to how we think we're going? Where have we gone wrong? Because we need to be vulnerable here and go, we're not always getting this right. It's breaking down. Where are we losing margin? Where are we losing money? And then going, oh, yeah, shit, actually, my gross profit is 25%. I'm aiming for 30. Oh, yeah, the sales strategy that I've got up here isn't working. Or, oh, my input prices are higher than they should be. Why? Start and unpack it and go, well, is 30% even achievable? Yeah, it is. Let's start and play around with the levers. Oh, no, actually, 32% is now achievable.
Yeah, we actually have clients who specifically use us for that. So each quarter, we require 0 to be coded and fully accurate before we meet, and they have some pre-work questions to do, and then we go through and we analyze their numbers back to goals that we've set at the start of the year, and we have quarterly sessions specifically looking at the financial side of their business and then give them actions to ensure that they stay on top of their numbers. I think they get a lot out of that because they end up over a 12-month period learning so much about finances in a business.
Well, I mean, the feedback that you've shared just this once, and then on that 90-day session where you've got that link, and the feedback from the impact that the advice that we've shared with business owners that it has on their numbers and overall mindset, how they think, how they solve problems, and then ultimately money in the bank, it moves the needle.
Now, for the younger business owners, this is my final piece to have you mindful of, is that we have to remember that we've gone from a time where your parents would say to you, I'll just do that myself, to now living in a world of convenience. And that's a big change. So someone said to me recently, my old man is absolutely minted and something will break, and it might be that it might cost $200. Like, well, fuck, I'm not paying $200. I'll fix that myself. I'm like, Dad, why are you doing that? You should be doing that. Nah, well, because I can. I'm not paying someone else to do it. And that's so the Kiwi way. We even got marketed to, like, DIY Kiwis.
Oh, did we what?
Yeah, and it's still, like, ingrained in us. Like, do it yourself. And there was educational videos about, you know, building your house and building shit. And, like, obviously you're good at that and you enjoy that. But, like, a lot of people, I think, have stayed stuck in that
Well,
camp.
have I got a story for you?
Uh-oh.
We have bought some bits and pieces for Te Whare and put them on the wall. And over the weekend, started to do that, get the levels and stuff right, to make, got the measurements wrong. And when the measurements are wrong, what ends up happening? There's a hole in the fucking wall, isn't there?
Oh, no. I can't fix that.
and I was like, it's another, and my mind actually went to, like, I would have been quite happy to pay for somebody who's done this before to just come in and take an hour or two to just do whatever it is we've got going on, because there's a few things that need to be done. Do it. It's done once. It's done right. And know that my walls aren't going to have holes in them from old fucking DIY dickhead hair. That's then need to go along with a blooming little bit of a sander and a paintbrush and do some touch-ups.
And I think, you go back, like your parents and my parents are even more heavily marketed to, like, no, you do not pay someone to do that when you could do it yourself.
Well, my old man never took his car service. Be down to Repco,
True.
Get the oil filtered, get the oil. And I still remember as a younger fella going to Repco and they'll bring out the book. This is obviously before the days of the internet and showing a little bit of my age. Is what car have you got? What year it is? Oh, it's this particular type of filter.
Yeah.
And then the old boy would go out the back to the shelf and bring the filter. And it's just like, oh, no, we want the the non-name brand filter, because they're all the same. They come from the same factory. We just don't want the fucking packaging.
Yeah.
And it's like, we get the oil, we go home. And it's the DIY oil change and the spark plugs and everything. I mean, I learn a fair bit of how to do it all, but I've never once changed the oil in my car.
And I think it highlights like how much we've really changed, though, right, through the generations. And so when you think about it, now we live in a world where we value convenience and getting our time back. And even I was reading a developer in the property space talking about how they've had to change their business model because they can see that what they were building isn't going to be what younger people demand. And they're like, shit, we need to think about what we're building in cities and what that looks like and what needs the current generation and the next generation who are their buyer are actually going to want because of the things that they're valuing. And it might be that they don't want like gardens and stuff and like they want AstroTurf. And so everybody's having to think about, how much time people are trying to put back into their life. But the big opportunity there is that because people are willing to pay for convenience, you can make money from that. And that is value. Convenience creates value for somebody, and that is what people will transact on. Not, okay, that's an hourly thing. Again, we go completely away from that. It's like, no, I value the convenience of that, and therefore I will pay for it.
I think on the back of this, for all business owners, go out there and get some no's. Get better at telling your story and articulating your value rather than just selling something. Sell the value.
A lot of your pricing problems start in your head, but you can fix them in your head as well.